So today, let's just come to a comfortable seat, crossing one shin in front of the other if that feels good. You might even prefer to sit with soles of the feet together. I actually find this very challenging to sit nice and tall. As always, sit up on something. Make it a little easier on yourself. So especially if you tend to kind of be tight in this pelvic girdle, as you sit down on the floor, it might feel like you're rounding in a little bit. Sitting up on a blanket or a bolster or some blocks really allows you to find your sit bones, to root down, and then start to lengthen through the spine, which we really want so we can start to find our breath. And as we come into this seat today, let's all just lift. So press into your left sit bone, lift that right sit bone up, and then roll the inner thigh towards the outer thigh. It's like you're starting to spread your sit bones, and then do that to the other side. So it might feel like your base just got a little wider. And then take your hands on your thighs. Find a nice deep inhale here. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. And then if your eyes aren't closed already, go ahead and close them. So start to tune the outer world out. Start to draw inward. You're starting to pay attention to your body, to physical sensations, thoughts, feelings, all of those things that immediately come up when we land on our mat. And you might have to sigh the breath out a few more times. So you're kind of letting all of that go. So we're trying to tap into that quiet place. And then as you feel ready here, you're going to start to find the rhythm of your Ujjayi breath. So inhaling through your nose, creating that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. You find that by constricting the sides of your throat. So that sound that you get when you're fogging a mirror with your breath. And then exhale, you're doing the same thing. And the sound should be audible to you. And if it doesn't feel right today, you don't do it. You just take nice deep inhales and exhales through your nose. This breath is useful in that it helps us to focus our mind. It gives us something to look at, to explore. The other added benefit is that it creates some heat in our bodies. So as we do these flow classes, that's always nice. It's a little extra to help us get into poses. And then with your eyes closed, I want you to notice if you're gripping anywhere. A lot of us, that happens in the inner thigh. How can you soften those muscles? Can you send your breath there to help find that? Maybe can you press the outer edge of your sit bones a little more? Does it feel as though your shoulders are balanced over your hips in space? Most of us usually need to lean back a little bit. So imagine that you're sitting back against a wall, and then notice if your chin is jutting forward. So that happens a lot, especially in the world of Zoom, when we're spending all of our time on computer meetings. We start to kind of do that like turtle face forward. Go the opposite direction. It almost feels like you're giving yourself lots of wrinkles in the neck. But you're getting that length through the back of the cervical spine. And then with all of this space that you've created through your spine, through the sides of your waist, really follow your breath. Notice how it feels. So what happens when you inhale? Where does the breath start? Where does it go to? Notice how things contract in when you exhale. Do you lose some of the lift as you exhale, some of the height you've created? Can you hold on to that as you exhale? And we're just going to sit here quietly for another moment or two. You're just there with your breath. Make sure the ringer is off on my phone. And then as you're sitting here, I'm going to read you a poem today. And some of you may remember this. This poem is by LeFebre, who is the Colorado Poet Laureate. And I came across it shortly after quarantine happened, and it really struck me. And I know that I shared it in one or two of my classes, but I was thinking about it the other day, and I was wondering how it would resonate 6-7 months down the road. And I actually think it's quite different. You don't have all of that that heightened feeling of what is this going to be? We had all of these unknowns, and they're still there, but we've sort of settled into this groove a little more. But as I read this poem again yesterday, it really reminded me of yoga and how we get quiet and still, and we go inside and we turn the world out. So just sit here with your breath, and then you can listen to this as you're here quietly. So, and when there is nothing left to do but live, let us retire the noise and build a home inside the stillness. Grab a wrench and unfasten the parts of you that have become mechanical. Rest your weary limbs in the bed of anomaly. Outside, the machine is powering down. You can hear the birds when the gears aren't grinding. When there is nothing left to do but live, make a vacation of your body. Each part explored, a stamp on your passport. Begin with your heart, maybe. Crawl inside and sightsee. Ask difficult questions about who it is and why. Outside, the machine is powering down. You can hear yourself when the gears aren't grinding. When there is nothing left to do but live, simply show up. That has always been enough. And together in this sudden strangeness, radical imagination will run wild. Tomorrow being built today. So just let that simmer around, percolate in your body. Take a couple more moments here, sitting tall with your breath. Let's just set the intention to explore our bodies today in our yoga practice. We do this every time we show up on the mats, but let's bring some heightened awareness to that idea. We're going to notice the sensations that we get. We're going to notice when we're gripping, working harder than we need to, and we're going to let that go. We're going to also notice the places where we might not be challenging ourselves, or where there's a lack of sensation, connection to the body. And we're going to see if we can fire that up. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out. Ha. And then blink your eyes open. You're going to peek to see what shin is crossed in front. Extend legs too straight. And then recross with the other shin in front. So that's assuming that you took Sukhasana. If you're in your Baddha Konasana and you want to switch, just find a place where you can be comfortable here. And then let's just do a little lateral stretching. So as you inhale, arms reach up. So palms are facing towards each other. The shoulders love to climb up around the ears, soften them down. So find that widening across the backs of your shoulders, and then find your belly. It's pulling in and up. We're going to bring our left fingertips to our right wrists. We're going to pull up there. And then as you exhale, you're going to start to lean off to the left, and you don't have to go very far at all, but you should start to feel this lovely stretch through the right side of your body. That right sit bone is going to want to get a little light. Anchor there. It might lift up a little bit. That's okay. And then maybe it feels as though you're spinning that right palm to face behind you. You're getting internal rotation. So you're wrapping your inner arm towards your ear. Maybe you start to turn your gaze to the right if it feels okay in your neck. Starting out like this, it might not. So again, not forcing anything, noticing where you're at, being smart in the poses so that they feel good, create more space instead of tension. Good. Inhale, upright yourself, stretch arms out, take the arms a little wider than shoulders distance. So you can kind of spread the fingers here. And then we go to the other side. So right fingertips come to that left wrist. You're pulling yourself up. You're getting a little longer. Anchor into your left sit bone. As you exhale, find that lateral stretch. So you start to bend at this right hip crease, but then lengthen on this left side of your body. Breath smooth and steady. Make sure that you're still rooting into the center of your sit bones. Lower belly is pulling in and up. So we can tend to overarch in our lumbar here. So most of us, that's a flexible part in our body. Offer yourself a little support by pulling the belly in, softening the front ribs back potentially. So their shoulders again are stacking on top of your hips. And then if it feels okay, perhaps you start to turn your gaze up underneath that left arm. And then maybe you spin that left palm to face behind you ever so slightly. Couple more breaths, that nice inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose. Good, inhaling up. As you exhale, release down, just a little sigh of relief for the arms. Let's just do, take an inhale, scrunch your shoulders up towards your ears, and you can like make the face look not pretty. Exhale, release. We're gonna do that a couple times. So creating tension to feel that resolution as we exhale and release the shoulders down. Couple more at your pace. Let's do one more for good measure. Good, let it go. And then you're gonna flip around, coming to your tabletop position. So set up with shoulders underneath your wrists, spread your fingers, press evenly into all 10 knuckles so you start to feel the palm flatten out on the mat. If you're tighter in your shoulders, it can be really nice to turn your fingers out slightly here. You don't want to overdo that, but a little bit is going to give you a little more space. Then you want to check to see that your knees are landing underneath your hips. So keep the neck nice and long. So your gaze is slightly down. There's a subtle, subtle tuck of the chin. As you inhale, find that arch in your lumbar. So easy for most of us to move there. That's sometimes why we start to get the pain there. As you exhale, press the mat away. Let the back of your neck lengthen and release. Inhaling, arching. So it can be nice and gentle here. And if you tend to get sensation in your lumbar, maybe squeeze those glutes a little more. Feel the outer hips squeezing in towards each other. So engage those muscles, and that should help to relieve any pain that you might be feeling or sensation. And then perhaps you're closing your eyes here. So every time we do that, we start to tune the outside world out, and we bring our gaze inward a little more. Nice kneel. And if you've lost that thread of your Ujjayi breath, you're finding it again. That inhale through your nose, that exhale through your nose, kind of stretching and lengthening the breath out. It's like you're creating this, sounds like ocean waves, a soundtrack. Couple more rounds. Good. As you inhale and come into that cow stretch, so you're getting that arch in your lumbar. Again, maybe squeeze your glutes, the outer hips in a little bit. And I want you to pull your shoulder blades down your back. And as though you're going to start to melt your chest down towards the mat. Gaze slightly forward. So we're almost getting a little bit of that cobra feeling in our upper body. And you can definitely feel those shoulder blades squeeze in towards the midline of your spine. Good. Just come back to a neutral spine here. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches, spreading fingers, pressing evenly. Curl your toes under. We're going to pull back to our downward facing dog, but we're going to have a deep Deep, deep bend in our knees. And then I want you to get a little of that sensation that we just had in our spine here in our upper back. So it's like you're melting this sternum bone towards the floor. You're gazing slightly forward. So it's like you're going to just kind of lean forward, place that breastbone on the mat. Notice how this engages your arms a little differently than a classic downward dog. So we're getting there a little more. We're feeling this mobility in the mid-spine, upper spine, which tend to get very tight and congested. Good, one more deep inhale. Full exhale, melt in a centimeter more, maybe a thought more. And then go ahead and pull back to more classic downward facing dog. So you let those ears line up with your biceps and then just take like 30 seconds or so to find any movement that's calling to you. So whatever that looks like, pedaling back and forth between your feet. You can shift hips side to side. I always love to flip onto the top of one foot, then the other. So it's a really nice stretch on the front of the leg. And as you are ready, you begin to move towards that place of stillness with your feet hips distance apart, second toe pointing forward. Might still have a nice deep bend in your knees. So your downward dog could look like that forever. And if it takes some of the work out of tight hamstrings, a tight lower back, it's a beautiful adjustment. From here, start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. Deep bend in your knees. Good, and then let's all just place our hands to our shins. So kind of a little modified half forward fold today. Pull your belly in and up. Feel your outer thigh squeeze in, shoulder heads press back. So gaze is coming forward. Exhale, fold. I'm just doing that with the bent knees here. So it kind of accentuates that lift of the heart. Inhaling up. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, lengthen sides of the waist forward. Exhale, fold. So keep that deep bend in your knees. As you inhale, stretch arms forward and up. So coming into your extended mountain pose. Legs straight and last. As you exhale, hands come by your side. So palms kind of turning outward, facing forward. Glance down at your feet. Make sure that your second toe is pointing forward. Feet hips distance apart, maybe a little closer. So where do you feel good and balanced in your body? Feel those arches lift a little bit. And we start to flow. So as you inhale, stretch arms out and up. And for today, let's again just like bend our knees as we fold in. You might get a little more release of your the back of your neck. Hands on shins, even if you can put your fingertips on the floor, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold. And then maybe you can take your arms out wide or you can stretch them straight forward again. Coming up to standing, straightening the knees last. Exhale. Hands by your side, palms facing forward. Let's do two more like that, and then we'll visit the more classic version that we usually do. So inhale, stretching, extended mountain pose. As you exhale, find that nice deep bend in your knees to take you there. Let the back of the neck go. Palms press to shins to extend you forward. Elbows squeeze in, that deep bend in your knees. Exhaling forward. Inhale, pressing into your feet, stretching arms up. As you exhale, hands by side. One more. Inhaling, reaching up, extended mountain. Exhale, start to bend into your knees, fold in. Inhale, pressing hands into your shins to get that lengthening through the sides of your waist. Nice. As you exhale, you fold back in. Inhale, root evenly into the four corners of your feet. Use your belly to help pull you up, legs straight and last. As you exhale, hands come by your side. So if you are liking that bent knee variation, it feels kind of nice. It helps to get us into the thoracic, the upper spine a little bit. You can stick with that. If you want to play with keeping legs straight for these next couple, you're welcome to do that as well. So here we go. Inhaling, reaching. Exhale, fold in, letting the back of the neck go. So here, fingertips might be on the floor, hands might be on shins or thighs. So the higher you are, the more of that L shape you get. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, root down to rise up, to grow tall. As you exhale, hands come by your side. One more. As you're ready, just move with your breath. Soak it up. And then this time, after you reach up, just bring palms down to heart center. Close your eyes. Notice what's happening in your feet. Are you gripping your toes? Is the weight forward in the foot? Is it back in the foot? Find that center place and notice there's these tiny movements that happen to keep you upright. There's this almost swaying sensation in your body. Are you still lengthening through the sides of your waist as you direct your tailbone down? How has your breath shifted already? So it's feeling richer, steadier, deeper. How's your body feeling different? So again, exploring that playground of our bodies. Where do we hold? Where do we grip? Where do we work harder than we need to? Go ahead and blink your eyes open, release your hands by your side. Feel that openness across your heart and chest. As you inhale, arms reach up. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Bend your knees a lot, plant your palms. We're just gonna reach the left foot way back. And you're gonna lower onto your left knee here. You could be on blocks with your hands. Take as much space as you need to. So you might be sliding that left knee back so you can melt this left hip flexor down towards the floor. So feeling that stretch, it's intense. So many big muscles attaching there. And maybe you need to back out a little bit. Maybe you're going for it a little more than you should. I actually think it's harder to back out. We can kind of turn into sensation junkies. We can get competitive. We think that we need to accomplish a lot of things. And even though that's potentially counter to yoga, it happens. All right, so start to upright yourself here. Feel your hips stack above that left knee. Feel your tailbone release down. And then it's really easy here to overarch, dump into that lower back. So again, gonna pull the front sit bones towards the back. Maybe you can walk that front leg in. Here we go. Inhale. Arms reach up. And let's cross our right thumb in front of our left. And then I want you to start to stretch your arms apart here. So you're gonna feel the muscles engage in that inner arm. You're gonna feel it on the backs of your shoulders here. Maybe you're pulling apart so much that your sternum lifts up towards the ceiling. You gaze up. As you exhale, hands return down to the mat. So you're gonna curl your left toes under, firm that thigh up. Play with keeping your hips this low. Gaze forward as you step that right foot back to plank. Shoulder blades release down your back. Couple of breaths here. Neck nice and long. Use the legs more than you think you can. Come to your knees, shift forward a little bit. Toes can be curled under, or you can have the tops of the feet pressing. As we exhale, we squeeze elbows in. You bend an inch, maybe two. No more than shoulders in line with elbows. Hover here, couple of breaths. Pull lower belly in. Land on your belly. Good. So let's come onto our forearms. So coming into Sphinx pose. So fingers are spreading. You're pressing down into that forearm. Then it feels like you're going to slide your mat back towards your feet so you get a little more extension and lift. You want to make sure that shoulders are landing over your elbows. And again, if there's sensation in your lower back, start to squeeze the glutes, so the buttock muscles. And then anchor down into your hip bones, your pubic bone. Couple more breaths like this. Open across your heart and chest. All right. So feel your outer ribs start to squeeze in towards each other. You're pressing into the tops of your feet. Shoulder heads are pressing back. So lift your hips up. So you just might stay here like this, gazing forward. If you would like, press into the tops of your feet. So you're in a little forearm plank. Lift the booty up towards the ceiling, but don't overdo it. Good, exhale, lower down, so little core work there. Bring your hands by your side, so more of a classic low cobra pose here. We're gonna press to our tabletop, curl toes under, downward facing dog. Couple of breaths, maybe as you inhale, or rather as you exhale, you sigh the breath out, you let everything go. And though even so we don't have the deep bend anymore in our knees, but can you find a little sensation of melting your chest forward to the floor? But counter that by really working the arms. So inner arm wrapping towards outer arm. Good. So same leg, we're gonna lift our right leg up. Exhale, step that foot through. Okay, so we're gonna rise up into our full crescent pose here. So if you're on a tightrope, walk your right foot off to the right just a hair. You might need a little bend in that back knee to help you to direct your tailbone down, find that height. We're gonna turn this into a nice little twist here. So take your arms out wide, just a gentle one. I'm gonna come to the front view here. All right, so as you exhale, twist to the right, and you're just gonna take your left hand to the outside of that right thigh. I want you to push the thigh into the hand and then press the hand into the thigh. So little isometric stretch as you reach those right fingertips back. And then you find a place to gaze that feels good in your body. So maybe you're looking out over that left shoulder. Perhaps you start to look forward. A couple of us might play with looking out over that right thumb. And then keep making those little adjustments. Sometimes a little bend in the back knee is nice. You can also place that back knee down. Feel that lift of your heart. All right, as we exhale, we unwind, palms plant, they frame that right foot. We're gonna step our left foot to meet our right foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come to heart center here. Good, inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, fold in nice and graceful. So just loving this movement in your body, this little flow. Inhale, chest extends forward. So as you exhale, keep looking forward, bend knees, plant palms. This time we are gonna step that right knee way back. And you do want to make sure that you're on a mat here, especially if you're practicing on a hardwood surface, or you could slide a blanket underneath that back knee. So getting in to this hip flexor stretch, quadricep stretch. So depending upon what's going on in your body, you can slide that back leg a little further. You do want to have left knee over left ankle. And then if you're really tight here, blocks are beautiful. I would grab mine now. They're kind of far away. They simply bring the floor closer, which we need sometimes, and that can shift side to side. Okay, so we're going to start to back out of this a little bit. We're going to find our low crescent lunge. So walk that left foot off to the left if you need to. Make sure that you're not overarching in your lower back. So we start to pull those shoulders over hip bones here. You can maybe slide that left foot back. Good. Hold on to that. Hold on to all of this length. Feel the outer hips squeeze in towards each other. Inhale, arms reach up. And this time you take that left thumb in front and start to pull away. So pulling the thumbs apart, it's like you're making a little butterfly with your hands. You feel those upper arms engage. You feel the stretch in the backs of the shoulders. And then maybe you pull apart so much that as you direct your tailbone down, you start to feel your sternum reach up, maybe gaze comes up. Good. As you exhale, hands come to the mat here. Firm up that right thigh. Good. See if you can stay this slow. Step to your plank pose. So make any little adjustments, kind of release those shoulder blades down your back. Use the legs a little more. Feel that lower belly pull in and up. So this is one of those poses where you're feeling it in a lot of places in the body. It's so beautiful for building a lot of strength for us. Your choice here. If you want to slowly lower to the floor, passing through your full chaturanga, you're welcome to do that. You can also come to knees. Let's take a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to land on our bellies. And then we find our Sphinx again. Couple of breaths here. Shoulder heads pressing back as you firm into your forearms. Squeeze the glutes a little bit. Feel the outer hips squeeze in. Reach back long through your toes. Roll a little bit to the outer edges of your feet. And then firm down into those forearms. Squeeze the ribs in towards each other. Lift up to your knees. So maybe you just stay here like this. Maybe you press into the tops of your feet. Find this little modified plank pose. Good. Lower down. Sphinx. Just imagine that you're sliding the mat back towards your heels, pressing your shoulder heads back. One more time. You could just stay in Sphinx if you would prefer. All right. Lifting hips up. Belly pulls in nice and deep. Maybe you press into the tops of your feet. Keep firming into your forearms. Gaze soft and gentle in front of your fingertips. Deep inhale. Lower down. Good. Start to pull your hands back. Option here. If you would like to press into an upward facing dog, you're welcome to do so. Make sure that your wrists are underneath your elbows. Otherwise, we press to our tabletop. Curl toes under. Downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here. Let the back of the neck lengthen and go. Take some exhales through the mouth if you need to. Notice how your body's feeling. So where is there more space in this downward dog? Even compared to the last one. All right, here we go. As we inhale, we lift our right leg up. And then as we exhale, we step that foot through. Okay, so little bend in that back knee. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. Walk that right foot off to the left. That was hard to see at an angle with me. As you inhale, Rise up. Good. And hopefully I have you guys with the right leg forward. Actually, do you know what? I think we need to switch. Right leg is forward because we're twisting the other. Left leg is forward. I think I had the wrong one. All right, here we go. As you exhale, hands come to the side. Direct your tailbone down. And we find that just gentle little twist. So start to spin to the left. Press right palm to the outside of that left thigh. Press that thigh into your left palm. Isometric stretch, shoulder heads press back. Lower belly pulling in and up. You can reach those left fingertips as far back as they'll go. Maybe you start to gaze in that direction. And then again, if you start to introduce a lot of back bend into the lower back, like I am doing, I'm softening my hip bones back. I'm pressing my front ribs towards the back ribs. Good. Unwind, inhale, lift up. And then as you exhale, hands come to the mat. You are gonna step your right foot to meet your left foot. Inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Close your eyes, take a breath or two here. Check in. So I am definitely feeling some heat, some sweat. These are good things. And we've been moving really slow. So that's actually kind of interesting. I think we can get this idea that blasting through the chaturangas is the only way to create heat in our bodies. Actually, this slow work, this really deliberate work, is more challenging sometimes and equally effective. Take another couple of breaths here. See if you can slow your heart rate down. Good, and then we're gonna release our arms by our side. As you inhale, stretch arms out and up. Feel that beautiful lift of your sternum. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. So exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, spread your fingers, right foot back, then left. Take an inhale here in your plank. And you have a choice. You either pull back to downward facing dog, or you shift forward on your toes, maybe come to knees. Lower chaturanga, hover, and then onto your belly. Good, inhale, low cobra, or upward facing dog. Exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here. Ears are in line with your biceps as you gaze back between your feet, which are hips distance apart. We're gonna inhale, lift our right leg up. As you exhale, you're gonna step that foot through. So we're setting up for our crescent again. So make sure you're not on a tightrope. Walk that right foot off to the right if you need to. Inhale. Rise up. Good. And then bring your palms to face forward. Start to extend your fingertips forward. It's like you're a mummy. It's October. We got to do a couple mummy poses here. All right. So we're going to come into our eagle pose arms here. So you're going to give yourself a hug. You're going to take the right arm on top. So you might just reach back, hold those shoulder blades. And then as you're doing that, you're lifting your elbows up. Okay, so you're welcome to stay here like this. You're getting all of the work, all of the stretch in the shoulders. Maybe backs of the arms press into each other. A few of us might be able to press palms in. So you get a little leverage there. Feel the elbows lift. Keep directing your tailbone down. Breath smooth and steady. And you're feeling that outer right hip burn. So I'm going to give you options here. This might be a really nice place to stay for a couple of breaths. If you want to play with transitioning into your full eagle pose here, start to press to the inner edge of your right foot. Lean forward a bit and then lift that back leg up, cross it over. options. You might just have your left tippy toes resting on the floor or a block. You might be able to wrap in a little deeper. A couple of us might get our toes around that back thigh. Sink in, heart lifts. You might fall out. That's okay. It's just a balance pose. It's only yoga. And then start to lean forward again. Keep a bend in your right knee. Reach that left foot back, a little warrior three variation with arms. And then lightly step those toes back. Release the arms. Beautiful work. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. Step your right foot back. So here you are in plank pose. You can lower onto your belly. Take a few seconds to get there. If you want to do it through with knees, same thing, so a little modified chaturanga. All right. So from here, we're going to take the arms out nice and wide. So wider than the mat, definitely out further than your elbows, and you're going to be up on your fingertips. So it's like you have little Spider-Man fingers. Take your legs as wide as your mat. So you're still rolling to the outer edges of the feet. Start to squeeze your buns. My yoga teacher Annie always said, squeeze the pumpkins. Again, Halloween analogy. So you're working that a lot to protect the lower back. Gaze forward. As you inhale, you start to press the arms to any amount of straight. There might be a deep bend in your elbows. So nice, deep, full cobra, modified version should feel pretty good. As you exhale, you lower. Good. Bring legs closer together. Fingertips underneath your shoulder heads. You can move through an upward facing dog if you would like. Otherwise, you press to your tabletop. Curl your toes under. Downward dog. Deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth. Sigh the breath out. Ha. Inhaling. Left leg lifts. As you exhale, step that foot through. Make sure you're not on a tightrope, so walk that foot off to the left. Direct your tailbone down. Feel that lift of your sternum. Inhale. Rise up. You can always keep a back or a little bend in that back knee so you can direct your tailbone down. Palms face forward. So you find that little mummy pose here. Good. And then we're going to take the left arm on top. So elbows stack. They start to lift as you squeeze those shoulder blades with your fingertips. Beautiful place to be. If you'd like, backs of the hands can start to press together. Maybe you can reach around and then press into palms. Find a little more lift. Feel that extension through the sides of your waist, that lift of your sternum. Nice, Neil. Breath smooth and steady. So maybe you stay here for another breath or two. If you would like to start to transition, start to press to the inner edge of your left foot. Keep that bend in the knee. And then lift that right thigh up and over. So good, melts. Good, and then Neil, yeah, I want you to start to square your left hip forward a little bit, Neil. Other way. So pull your right hip back, yeah. Oh, that's hard. Okay, good work. So if we're here, we keep that deep bend in the left knee, uncross right, reach, right foot back, and then bend left knee, release, crescent pose, great work. As you exhale, hands come to the mat, palms plant. Good, step left foot back. We lower. See if you can do it in 5 breaths. Elbow squeeze in. You can be on your knees here. Keep those shoulder heads lifted. Gaze forward. Good. Legs as wide as your mat. Roll a little bit to the outer edges of the feet. Take your arms out wide. Be on those like little Spider-Man fingers here. Good. Squeeze the buns. Squeeze those pumpkins. As you inhale, press, Rooting into pubic bone, arms come any amount of straight. You're pressing shoulder heads back, gaze forward. Maybe you bring your elbows, or not your elbows, your eyeballs up towards the ceiling, but don't do that by jacking your chin up. Keep the chin level to the ground. Good, exhale. Lower down. Feet come closer here. Fingertips underneath your shoulder heads, you press to your tabletop. If you want one more upward facing dog, slide hands back a lot, so wrists under elbows. We meet back in our downward facing dog. Deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out. Ha. Good, and then as you inhale, find a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. Look where you're going. End of your exhale, you can walk feet forward. Step right, then left, you can hop both feet through. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Check in with your playground. How is your body feeling here? Where have you created space? Have you created any tension? Just noticing. Then we're going to come down to seated. And I'm going to give you a couple options. We're going to get into the hips a little bit here, which we haven't done much today. So we're going to kind of take a little mellower version. And I'm going to give you two options here. So, reaching hands behind you, sitting nice and tall. We're going to take our right ankle, cross it above our left knee. So this is just a nice little pigeon stretch. If this doesn't feel good, if this feels too intense today, and again, we haven't done much hip work, maybe you simply lay down into your reclining pigeon. So if you're upright like so, maybe you can start to walk your hands in a little closer. So you're keeping the spine nice and long. You also might be able to bring that left foot back, but don't do that at the expense of losing all of that length through the sides of the waist. And of course, if you're on your back in your reclining pigeon, you can hug that left knee into your chest, thread your arms through, and then squeeze. You could actually do that if you're sitting up right here. I just kind of made a new discovery of something that feels really good. This is why it's fun to play on our mats. It's fun to do classes, but sometimes it's fun to do it on our own. You're slowing the breath down here. You can let go of your ujjayi at this point. So still inhaling and exhaling through your nose, just stretching it out, letting it feel a little easier. Nice notes. Couple more. You can also kind of gently press that right knee forward in whatever variation you're in, and that's just going to give you more space in this lower right waist. And again, you do want to be mindful to flex this right foot. It just engages all of these muscles, so it's a nice little move to keep us safe, especially that knee joint. We never want unpleasant sensation there. Good. Let's take a nice deep inhale. And then we're going to release. So if you're seated upright, uncross left ankle, maybe give yourself a little more space starting out, especially because side to side in these hip stretches, one side is usually always tighter. If you're on your back, you're just staying there. We all take our left ankle and cross it over our right knee. Spine is naturally long. Hopefully, if you're on your back, if you find that your shoulders are lifting up off the mat a little bit, maybe you put a blanket underneath your head or a block. Again, think left knee pressing forward, regardless of the pose that you're in. If you're on your back and you want to go a little deeper, you bend your right knee in towards your chest. If you're seated, maybe you can walk your hands in a little further. We've done all of this opening in the thoracic. We found all of that lift. See if you can still find that here. Maybe foot walks in a little closer. I'm gonna have to go out a little bit. And then if you wanted to take the wrap here, you could play with that too. So all stages are good. We don't have to get to the end point. We want this to feel like this journey, and it's our journey. So we need not look like the yogis of Instagram who have very unusual bodies that can do really amazing things relative to the bulk of the human population. So we let that go. But we do become mindful of where we are in space, how we're using our bodies. Does this feel good? Does this introduce sensation that is moving towards pain? We back out of that. Good. A couple more breaths here. All right, so if you're upright, you can start to give yourself a little space as you back out of this. If you're on your back, let that left leg go. And then let's come onto our back. So we all meet there. And then give the knees a nice little squeeze into the chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. And before we find our final resting pose, our Shavasana, let's take a twist. So a couple options today. For a lot of us, it just feels best to have the knees stacked like this. So if that's the variation that you want to take, you can just let the knees fall off to the right. Good. If you like the variation where you cross right thigh over left thigh, and then you're going to scoot your hips to the left, to the right, and then let your knees fall to the left. So basically you want to be falling in the direction of that bottom knee. Maybe you look up at the ceiling. Maybe you gaze out over opposite fingers, if that feels okay in your neck. If you took this cross-legged version and it just doesn't feel good, you come out, find center, and then let both knees fall to the right. Maybe you've started to close your eyes. I think that's not the way to say it. That sounds like it takes forever to close your eyes. Maybe you've closed your eyes. Good. Let's make our way out of this side. And if you're not on the right side, just switch. So you're taking the opposite. And if you do have legs crossed, you want to scoot your hips the opposite direction of the way the knees are falling. Just to give yourself a little more space, a little more ease. Can be pressing to the center of the back of your head, maybe rolling towards that opposite cheek. That cheek opposite of the direction that the knees are facing. Let your shoulder blades get heavy here. So I just noticed that one of mine is kind of catching. So interesting how we start to grip and hold on without even knowing, even if we've been doing this for a lot of years. So it's always this exploration. We're always making these little adjustments. It's fun. It's subtle work. Good. One more deep inhale and a full, complete exhale. You start to make your way back to center. And then you decide here, does a squeeze of the shins, the knees into the chest feel good? Maybe you want a quick little happy baby here. So pulling down on the outer edges of your feet or your thighs, kind of flattening out that lumbar. And then as you're ready, you're going to start to make your way into your final resting pose, Shavasana. If you do tend to have issues in your lower back, keep the knees bent, just allow them to knock in towards each other so you can take them as wide as your mat. Arms come out fairly wide, palms facing up. That really helps your shoulder blades to release down into your mat. It's this receptive gesture, this open gesture. You are welcoming all of the benefits of the work you've done. One more deep inhale together. As you exhale, sigh the breath out. Ha. Melt in here. Be still, be quiet, be gentle and soft these final moments. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to worry about anything. Asato ma satgamaya. Tamaso ma joy tirgamaya. Mrityor ma mritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And let your next inhale be deeper. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Brush your thumb across your fingertips. Stretch out your toes, start to wiggle them. And maybe you reach your arms up overhead. And then stay soft and quiet as you roll to one side or the other. And just finding the fetal position, pausing there. Staying soft and quiet, use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. Maybe that same seat that you had at the beginning of class. But check in here, notice how it feels differently. Observe the space you've created inside your body. This sense of ease, this sense of openness. Just promise yourself that you're going to continue to pay attention to this playground that is your body through the rest of the day ahead, the rest of the week ahead. You're going to get curious. You're going to notice things. You're going to make little changes so you can feel really good in your skin. Bring your palms in a pile on top of your heart. Send yourself love and gratitude. And start to bring your chin to your chest, bowing with a smile.
Beautiful work today, yogis. Thank you.